Hello, my name is Maliszewski. I am the knitter and designer behind the blog Knitting Up a Storm. Welcome to episode 5. Today is March 10th. It is a Tuesday and this is episode 5 and the title is yet to be determined. I think it's going to be something like, hooray, it's warmer, or hooray, spring is near and it's lighter and brighter out. I don't know. I'll think of something. I have a few things to share with you today. I have finished an object, although it is not knitted, it is woven, and I have finished a spinning project, so I have some hand spun to show you from the last episode, and I still have a work in progress that you'll probably be seeing episode after episode, so hopefully that's not the case, but yeah, I'm not going to be pressuring myself to finish that right away, so. Anyway, so let's get to the finished object, and this is our weaving segment of the show. This is a knitting, spinning, weaving, maybe yarn dyeing, if I get back into that again, podcast. So I hope you enjoy the show, and sit back and enjoy a hot beverage, or maybe a cold one since it's warming up. Today I have my Knit Picks mug that has a little lammy dreaming in fiber, which we'll be doing today. So the finished object. This is a woven cowl. It was a scarf, but I turned it into a cowl because I sewed some buttons onto this. And this is a little fringy part that should hang in the front. Now this is for a friend, my husband's brother's girlfriend, Leah. I told her that I was going to weave something, and I sent her a picture to pick out some boucle yarn, and she chose these colors, although this is much shorter than I would have liked it to be. I mean, it fits fine, but I would have liked the cowl to be a little bit longer, and I was hoping for it to be wider, but you know, when I double it up, I think that maybe that would have been too much bulk, so this width is pretty much fine. And then, so this is the yarn that's running vertical the entire way through, and then every, what did I do, 4.25 or 4.5 inches, I did 5 rows, you don't call it rows for weaving, but whatever, 5 rows of a different type of yarn, just so that I would get this striping effect. Now this is, what, Lion brand boucle yarn, and then some just sport weight acrylic yarn. I mean, it doesn't need to be anything fancy because it's pretty much hidden the whole time, but I doubled up this, so in the end, it kind of evened out with a thick yarn, and you can even really tell that it was boucle yarn. I don't know why I don't know. I think in French it would be boucle. I can't even pronounce French, so I shouldn't even try. So anyways, maybe here, I'll show it to you. So you kind of have to put it off on the side a little bit, because then when you swing around, even this out a little bit, and then you kind of, you know. So she loves Bohemian things, so I don't know if this is Bohemian, but it's kind of like out there. It's kind of, I don't know, what, earthy a little bit with the whole, am I grasping at straws? I don't know, I think it's different, I think it's unique, maybe it's hideous, I don't know. Hopefully she likes it, otherwise, I don't know, I don't care. It only took like a day-ish. I mean, the setup is like the hardest part, so. It kind of reminds me like a horse's, like, I don't know. She's going crazy. Speaking of singing, I've been doing, I don't have too much going on for finished projects and work in progresses this week because I've been doing a lot of practicing for my company. I did 2 services this weekend. Subbing, I have not heard back from them to get the full-time job. It's not full-time, it's part-time, but like the regular job. But I am practicing again because they asked me to play for the rehearsal this Thursday, so I've been doing like 2 hours, give or take, of practicing a day. So that's been kind of consuming my time besides being a stay-at-home mom and teacher. So forgive the lack of work in progress, which I'm about to show you. So we have the office socks, whoops, that is connected to my laptop. So I was hoping to get to the heel before I recorded this, and I was close. I was going to go straight to the heel after the last repeat, but I'm like, I'm just gonna do one more repeat just so that I don't hate the length. So I have about 9 more rows and then I'll do the heel, which will be a reinforced heel, I believe is what you call it. It's a slip stitch. You slip one at one, slip one at one, and then the following round, like the wrong side, you purl. So this is how far I got. They are 2 at a time socks, magic loop method, which I highly, highly, highly recommend you learning to do if you have not tried this. I would start with just 1 on the magic loop, but then once you do 1 project, you'll find that 2 is not harder. You could actually get away and cheat for the beginning if you'd like to cast them on separately on double pointed needles and then do several rows and then transfer them onto these. It's worth it if you're afraid of trying to cast on for 2. These are my Yardage US 2, I believe, yeah. What is that in millimeters? I'm trying to figure out. If I pull this any harder, it might take my work off. What is that? It's written on this cable. What is that, 3 millimeters? That's what it says. This is 40 inches. So, I don't know, can you see the stitch pattern in this lighting? It's supposed to be a diamond shaped pattern with purled stitches. This colorway and I are not getting along. I thought it looked really neat in the ball, the cake, but we are not getting along too well. We are going into counseling a little bit. We're gonna stick this through. We're gonna make it work, but after we have had our fling, I'm gonna be happy when we're done. I don't know, I don't know. I think it's a yucky colorway. It's cool, but it's kind of yucky to me, especially in this pattern. I asked my husband, I'm like, so if I knit these for you, would this be too feminine even though these are not really feminine colors? He's like, yeah, the pink in it, I don't know. I'm like, that's not pink, that's orange. I don't know, it's just, I don't like it so much. Maybe I'll sell it. If someone likes it, you could buy it. I wear 7.5 shoes. Anyways, so let's get on to my other work in progress. This is brand new information for you. So I have this beautiful, beautiful yarn. It's mostly acrylic, but there is like 15% wool, which I was surprised to find out. Where did my, hold on. Okay. This is from Yarn Bee. It is Diva Sequin, and the colorway is called the Moors. It is 180 yards per skein. I got this at Hobby Lobby. like 6 to 8 months ago. It says it's $7.99. I'm sure you could get it on sale or find a coupon, but I bought 3 skeins of these, and I don't know, I was so in love with all these shades of gray and then some sequins thrown in, which is kind of girly. It's not for everyone, but I'm sure they make a colorway without the sequins. It is the softest thing that my hands have probably knit with. It looks like a single ply hand spun. I don't know, maybe I can show you. It's probably the wrong color to do that, but I don't know, it's like knitting with like butter. Although I don't know how that would work out, but like it's just so silky. It just, I don't know, it's really nice to knit up. But anyways, talking about shades of gray, what am I going to name this shawl? Shades of Gray with an A, because we are American. Here, at least. I don't know who's watching my blog. Maybe I have some friends from other countries, and that would be great. Hi! But since I don't want to infringe totally on the book 50 Shades of Grey, which I do not care for that book, and I'm probably not going to watch the movie, I thought it would be a nice play on words because there's all these shades of gray, and I'm spelling that with an A. I asked my husband, I'm like, why is it spelled with an A and also with an E? Apparently, everyone else but America spells it with an E, but for some reason we chose to use an A. So I don't think it really matters which way you spell it, but I did a picot edge to this, which I thought would look really nice. This is the top portion of the shawl, and I am doing short row shaping, so it's like, oops, I ruined the surprise. So on this side, it looks like there's nothing going on, but on this side, it's like, look at all these. These will eventually be picked up when I'm done with the short row. I think I have 2 more rows of short row shaping, and then I'm done. Now, I am using a wrapless turn method. I got this idea from Isolda when I was doing the pumpkin ale sweater, and she asked for you to use waste yarn for this, but I am not doing waste yarn for this. So I use these stitch markers that lock. You could buy these pretty much anywhere. So you could open and close them right here. And the whole point of this is when you're done with the turning row and you need to close in all these gaps, you pull up, well, it was with waste yarn, but for me, I'm going to pull this up and take it off the stitch marker and put it back onto my needle and knit it together to close the gaps. It's supposed to be an invisible wrap and turn type of method. So, basically, every, there's a wrap and turn every 3 stitches for this. So it will angle this and kind of make the shawl dip like a U. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with the rest of the shawl. I think I'm going to increase it more. I don't know if it's quite long enough, as long as I wanted it to be. So I'm going to do some rapid increases with some more picot edging. And I'm going to follow this up with some kind of like mesh lacing. And then I'm going to edge it with something. I don't know what yet. It's a work in progress, and so is the design. I'm kind of going with the flow, but I am being good about writing it down, even on the computer. So I don't have to decipher my chicken scratch. But anyways, these are on size 8 needles. I am using my Denise interchangeable needles where you twist and lock. These are very thick cables. You would never use this for magic loop. And this is actually the longest cable that I have for this set. I don't know why. I might have had a longer one, but I might have lost it. So I need to transfer these immediately onto my Knit Picks interchangeable needles, which I really like that set. It's very flexible, but I'm having a problem with like the needles twisting itself off, and I know there's a key that locks it and tightens it, but I feel like I've used it so many times that it kind of maybe has stripped the insides a little bit. So I don't know, every time I use those and I do magic loop or whatever and they keep twisting themselves off, I just want to bang my head against the wall because I keep it keeps separating, and I have to like save all those stitches and have a small meltdown and freak out. So I was starting this with these needles that don't do that, but I'm at the point where I need something longer so I can see how wide this is actually, how wide this is so far. Anyways, let's get to the spinning segment of the show. Let me have a sip of this. I have not eaten yet, so I'm very hungry. So I might be downing this whole thing because I don't know, like coffee kind of like, I don't know, takes the edge off of my hunger. Okay, so remember this blue spun yarn? I had 2 singles going. This is what is left of my 2-ply, and I have about, what did I say? 73 grams left. So I am going to spin up some more singles. I'm going to have to weigh this and figure out how many grams are left of this and try to evenly spin singles again. And then I'm going to make some more two-plied yarn. So here is 2 skein, well, one's a skein, one is not, because I did not wrap it up, of my 2-ply hand spun. Isn't it gorgeous? Now it's not like the most, I mean, you can see right here, there's a couple areas where some of the yarn got a little thicker than other. But this is a beautiful, what is this? This is, I think this is technically worsted weight. I did not measure it, like wrap it around and figure out what the true weight is. But generally, through this whole thing, there's some areas that are like, they're like sport weight, but then I think generally it's like a worsted weight. And I know I'm like repeating myself, I'm like going in circles talking, kind of distracted here. Last time I was almost giving a show when I was bending over, like super self-conscious. Okay, so this one, I did not twist and put it into pre-skein here. Yeah, you can see that some of these are not as even, but that's okay. It's hand spun, and you know what? The first single ply yarn that I did was like my like 3rd time spinning in general, so it was not the most even thing in the world. Now this one I can't really twist up because when I put it on my Yarn Swift, I was really dumb and I didn't put it wide enough. So when I wrap this thing up, I can't really make anything out of this. So I'm going to reskein it, try to make it around the same size as this, just for aesthetics when I'm hanging it up. But this is so gorgeous. I'm going to call this Midnight Tide, something like that. I have no idea what the original color name was for the roving. Now this is from, like I said in the last podcast, this company called Little Barn exclusive from www.littlebarninc.com. I bought 4 of these in different colorways. And this stuff is really soft. Not like silky soft, but I don't know. It's still a little crisp, but it's, when you spin the singles, it's pretty soft. I don't know. So when I was done spinning these and you put it on the Yarn Swift, you have to be really, really careful about putting waste yarn around here, and at least having two sides have it, because when you pull it off the Yarn Swift, this thing will go like in curls, like a poodle, like, and it's so fun because you can like spring it, like it's so elastic. And the most important thing for hand spun yarn is soaking this. So you need to have this, because when you put this in water, it's just going to go all over the place, and you have to be really careful about opening this up properly, or when you go to ball wind this thing is going to be garbage pretty much, because it's going to be so tangled up. So you soak this for about, I don't know, 15 minutes, maybe less, maybe more. It depends on how much you have, because it needs to completely absorb the water. And then I carefully wring it out, and then you hang dry it, and you put a towel on the bottom. So it's really important to get it wet and hang a towel on this so it stretches this, so that the fibers relax and they stop going boing, boing. So yeah, it's a night and day difference between, sorry, burping, between when you first take it off the skein, the Yarn Swift. I mean, when I was working with this, I'm like, oh man, this looks kind of garbagey because it's so uneven. There's some places that are much thinner, and it's starting to look like the bukla or whatever, I can't pronounce it still, yarn, like, because there were some areas that were thinner, and then it was being spun with a thicker area, because I am not perfect at this. So I was really worried about just like when you finally knit this up, what it's going to look like in the fabric, like areas of thick and thin. But when it soaked, it kind of took away some like the fouls in my hand spinning. And I don't think it'll be too terribly noticeable that it's a little bit uneven. Anyways, that's a lot of chatter about this. Yeah, I'm smitten. Completely smitten. I had to oil my spinning wheel, because when I was doing this, it was really starting to squeak, and the boys were sleeping, and it was like when I was treadling. So anyways, so remember I didn't have enough bobbins. I was really scared that I wouldn't be able to finish these hand spun objects, because I had so much stuff on my bobbins. Like I had a pink single going on a bobbin that was completely filled to the brim. Then I had 2 of these, and then I had this candy colorway. It was just leftover singles from a 2-ply that I did before. So I took this off the bobbin and I put it on my Nitty Knotty. And I'm just going to leave it as singles because I don't know what to do with it. It's about 49 yards, I believe. And it's pretty, it's really soft. I'm sure it's just a special merino, maybe like superwash or something. I don't know, it's very soft. I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. If you know what to do with 49 yards of this, which is a light worsted weight, you let me know, because it's just going to be hanging up with all my skeins forever and ever. I don't know. Can you make a pair of baby mittens with 49? I don't even know if that's enough for a pair of like newborn mittens. But it's pretty. Maybe it'll just serve as eye candy forever. Anyways, let's get to, what was I going to do? I was going to do a knitter review, which is a product that I have used that I am reviewing for your knowledge gain. I don't know. So when I was taking, okay, these were on my Lazy Susan. And so I had to transfer this to my Swift. And before, I don't even know what I'm saying. While it was transferring to my yarn Swift, I had this running through a yardage counter. Yeah, yardage counter, that's what they're calling these things. So here is it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but it's not too expensive. It's like, maybe like $8 at Michael's, and you can use a coupon on this. Maybe it was more, I don't know. But here is the label. It's from Boye. It's a yardage counter. And so basically, you put a yarn through it, and then you lock it like that. There's a little switch here. And as you wind it, or whatever you end up doing with the yarn, like the counter will keep changing to show you the yardage. And there's 2 suction cups on it so that you can stick it on a table and it won't move around. Although if you have a yarn that's a little uneven like mine, it will tug on it more and the suction cup will kind of come loose from the table, which happened to me several times. So this thing is nice. I mean, it was running, it didn't really lose count except for like once. So I just added an extra yard to my total because I caught on right away that it was not really moving. 2 things. I think the suction cup can be a little bit bigger. There's 2 little ones, so I think that it could have a much nicer suction cup. And also the only other thing that bothered me was when I was running the yarn through, there's like a little, okay, for sewing, I don't know if you're a sewer, but when you have 2 threads running into the machine. You have one on the top from the bobbin that sits on the top, and then there's one that's inside the machine, so there's like 2 strands that are being sewn. The one inside the machine on those tiny little bobbin things, they're usually clear. There's one of those inside here, and that's what, when the yarn is getting pulled, it's moving, and that's what's tracking the yardage. It squeaks. It's like kind of like a nail on, not quite as bad as nail on chalkboard, but it's just between the squeak from the wooden Swift. I don't know why. When I start putting more yards on mine, it starts getting tighter, and like I get this wood on wood, and then I get this plastic on. I almost wore earbuds just to drain out the noise. Drown out. So I need caffeine, I need food, I can't think, I'm sorry. I sound so unintelligent on these, at least lately. So, oh, I forgot to tell you how many yards on my hand spun. I'm looking at this paper now and I didn't tell you. So we're gonna go back to that segment because I was truly amazed at how many yards that I got from that hand spun. So the one that I needed to reskein has a lot more on it. That has 288 yards. I was blown away. I really thought, I believe this is maybe I had 2 bags. I don't know. I just feel like I had this much left over. This is 73 grams. And this is 4 ounces, which no, this is 8 ounces. No wonder why. I thought it was 4 ounces. This is 8 ounces. So if this is 73 grams and I had 137 grams that I hand spun for a 2-ply, it's gonna be like almost 700 yards total when I finish everything. That is my phone going off, and I will get that later because we're almost done here. So that was 288 yards for that, that one that I showed you. And then the other one, this is 142 yards. So that's 430 yards that I spun so far. That's amazing to me. I was like, oh, I hope I get at least like 300 yards so I could do something with it. I don't know, I could do anything pretty much, but not like a sweater or anything, but like I could do a really large shawl with this. I can do a hat with maybe a mitten set, maybe fingerless. I don't know. The possibilities are almost endless. So that really made me happy. I was looking at the counter like, oh my gosh, it got beyond 250 for this one. I don't know, it was really exciting. Anyways, my phone keeps jingling. So yeah, so that is the Boye yardage counter. So if you need to figure out how many yards you have of something, pretty inexpensive, and it seems to work. I used commercial yarn on it, and it tracked it fine. I used hand spun, and as long as it's not highly textured, I think it counts it fine and pretty much accurately. So you might want to add that to your list of things to get. I don't know. Anyways, news. I already said some news in the beginning. Been practicing a lot. I have not heard back from my interviewers for that job. I lost some students for teaching. Most of my kids are in so many activities, and piano is like the last thing on their list, which is a shame. It's truly hard for me and a lot of people to like teach something that is last on everyone's priority list. There's a lot of stress that goes into like trying to teach people who don't practice, and it's even worse on the ones that like would truly do well if they put a little bit of effort into it. There's some people that, you know, they're not into it, and it's stressful because they're being forced, but you're like trying your hardest to like let them see how fun and great it is. It's just, it's so much stress between like 4-year-olds and that, and then losing some students. So like our budget is much tighter, so I'm constantly thinking about it. So I'm like, okay, so maybe this is a setup, like I don't have as many students, and now it's like, go for it, you know. I don't know what's gonna happen. All I know is I'm doing the best that I can. I'm taking as many subbing jobs as I can, just to kind of make up for my loss of students. Other than that, we went to the Museum of Science and Industry because we live in the Chicagoland area. So we traveled all the way to Chicago. The boys absolutely love that museum because they have a really nice kids section on the first floor. I don't know. We saw the IMAX Flight of the Butterflies again. So it's a curved screen, and so it kind of gives you a little bit of motion sickness because you're looking down and up and around, and then when they like zoom in on something, you feel like you're flying. And not only that, like there's so much seating, and it's so high up that like you feel like you might fall down. So if you get motion sickness, either take something before that, or I think they say sit at the very top because it gives you less motion sickness. But it's a very nice show, the Flight of the Butterflies. So I highly recommend it if you're in the area, close enough to go to the Museum of Science and Industry. I think within a year or so, they're going to go from the old school method of how they're doing the IMAX projection with actual like the huge machine to digital. So if you like that whole old school feeling where you could see what's going on, and you should probably get there before the start of maybe 2016. So anyways, make sure you're a group member for the Facebook group Knitting Up a Storm, the blog. Sometimes I do random giveaways. I have started a tradition every time I release a pattern. I will give one free giveaway. For holidays, sometimes I throw parties, like knitting parties, where you like do virtual drinks and post pictures of what you're doing or wearing, or, you know, and then I do giveaways. So make sure you're a group member, because only members are eligible for giveaways. Like I gave away a gift certificate and stitch markers to the last person that I did a giveaway to. So I don't know, I like chit-chatting there. I do posts that sometimes don't make it to my blog. So yeah, if you like this podcast, give me a shout out. I like constructive criticism, but I also appreciate people who tell me that they have enjoyed it. And so I will see you hopefully next week. I'm trying to keep this regular, so I'll check back with you later, okay? Have a good week. Bye.